Now I would like to talk about the reasons why we may not love ourselves, the reason why we may have low self esteem. And in order to understand this, we must first talk about what I call the illusionary cycle. Now, this concept was downloaded to me. I am a medical intuitive. And I am also trained in energy therapy. But this was downloaded to me, and I use it in my practice, and I apply it to helping people to overcome many things. But it is the basis to the reason why people get stuck. The reason why people behave in the way that they do. And it also explains how to heal from or break free from those things that no longer serve us. Now, based on our environment and our experiences, we may have emotional response. And when we have that emotional response or based on that emotional response, it gets processed in the subconscious mind, creates a belief, and from that belief, a behavior or several behaviors. And this process goes on all of our life. And many of us think that this is who we are. But this is not who we are. It's just an illusion. And that is why I call it the illusionary cycle. And so, for instance, let me give you an example of how the illusionary cycle would fit into the trauma I experienced through my educational journey and growing up and in my early years of college. And how it would fit in is this. Based on my environment, I went to marginalized schools. I lived in a very impoverished area for the first 14 years of my life. And the schools that I went to, there was not many resources. And so with me having a brain injury from almost dying at the age of 2 years old, they could not put a finger on what was going on with me or how to treat me. And as a result, I suffered a lot of disappointment, a lot of trauma within the school system, which affected my self-esteem. So, for instance, when I was in second grade, we're going to put this as the environment. And then now I was in second grade at a marginalized school. I was not to reading level. So I was separated from the kids that were up to speed in reading and put in a group for kids that were not to speed which made us feel that we were inadequate, that something was wrong with us. So that is the experience. The way that I responded to the experience was I immediately felt sad. I felt grief. I felt grief because I could not meet the mark in my eyes, even being in the second grade. Because with me being in a group of people, of children that could not read to the level, that made me feel inadequate. And so when I processed that in my subconscious mind, I created the belief that I was less than. I created the belief that I was less than. And as a result of that belief, my behavior was low self-esteem. I would always think that people were smarter than me, even into adulthood, that they had more knowledge than I had, even into adulthood, and that I would always have to work 100 times harder than the average person just to be accepted. So I got into a cycle of trying to strive for perfection. I got into a cycle that I would work myself so hard. I would work myself until I couldn't work myself anymore. I would literally, because I was still affected by my condition, I would literally be so exhausted from trying to read and take in material that what my eyes would be watering, I would have a headache, and my whole physiology, my whole body would feel like I ran 10 miles. And I would keep going because I was determined to prove that I was enough, because I did not feel that I was enough to society, and I did not feel that I was enough to myself.